Resume recording. Let's try that again. Hello, everybody. It is today's Tuesday, April 1st. Thank you so much for joining us for our monthly VPK Fast Call. Claudia and Ruth are here with me today. We're very excited to share with you evaluating the classroom environment for our April call. They have a beautiful presentation, so hopefully you guys are able to see everything. And I don't have any reminders aside, from your normal fast stuff. So if you are still within your window, please make sure that you assess all children. If you need help running reports, the TAs and coaches are there, or our staff are there to help you make sure that children are assessed. And then the reminder that your PM3 window is your last 30 instructional days of class. So you'll get reminders when that window is open. And please make sure all children are assessed before your class ends. And then those of you that maybe do summer VPK, you'll hear from us separately because that's a separate process. But that's all I have. I don't really have much else. So I'm going to pass over to Claudia and Ruth. So you guys take it away. Just let me know when you need a changeover.
All righty. Well, again, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Good. All right. Perfect. Well, as Gina said, today we're going to be talking about evaluating the class environment. Just want to say welcome, everyone. Glad you all are here. We're glad to be here. You're taking this time out of your busy schedule. And Claudia, anything you want to say before we jump right in?
Just hello, everyone. Welcome to this. It's like a table talk we have, talking about BPK and the best interest for our children's and providers and teachers as well.
All right. So today we want to talk about classroom learning environments. That's our topic. And I'm sure this is a topic that most educators, you've probably already got a lot of experience with setting up the classroom. Today, though, we want to evaluate some of those qualities of the classroom learning environment. We want to talk about the value of those learning environments and the impact of learning environments have on children's learning and development. So we're going to go about it with a little different perspective. It's a topic, again, everyone is familiar with because you have to do it all the time. And so let's jump into it. Gina, next slide.
Yes. So, talking about environments, as Ruth said, we always talk about classrooms and how the environments affect our children's and even us as adults, like parents when they come to do a tour, or teachers that spend a lot of hours in the classroom. And at this time of the year, as Ruth said, we are thinking about how we're gonna end. Everybody, I bet you guys are rehearsing, like I'm doing a lot of practice for graduation, are getting, you guys are putting together little goodie bags for the end of the school year and thinking about all that to just wrap up the school year. And the time is coming when we have to reflect, and this is April, and it's a good time to be thinking about how we want our classroom, our BPK classroom for the next school year, and how we can take a look, like a close look of what we had this year and do like accommodations and things in the arrangement. So we're gonna watch a video. We're gonna get ready to watch a video to do so, to evaluate the classroom environment. And we're gonna pay close attention to the message this video is giving us, because it's gonna tell us about the messages a classroom can give to everyone that interacts with it. So we're gonna be ready, Gina, to play the video. So, and while the video is playing, I encourage everyone, all the participants, to just reflect and think about it.
Long-lasting friend.
We have ads here. Okay.
Your environment is the foundation of your curriculum. According to Dodge, Kolker, and Harriman in the Creative Curriculum for Preschool, an effective environment sends children a variety of messages about their learning. Let's learn about these messages and how you can make sure children receive them. First, your environment should say, "This is a good place to be." You can do this by making your environment feel home-like and comfortable. Remember, your classroom is an extension of home and is a stable place for children. Use neutral decorations and furnishings that remind children of home. Provide soft spaces with pillows, cushions, or area rugs. Consider framing artwork. Your environment should say, "You belong here." Make sure you post children's artwork, photos, or writing. This helps children know they are part of the classroom community. Remember to include photos of families as well. Classrooms should say, "This is a place you can trust." Children need safe and predictable spaces. They also need safe and predictable routines. Make sure your classroom is neat and orderly. Make changes to your materials and spaces as needed, but avoid making frequent changes. Give children time to get comfortable. A posted schedule also helps children know they can trust the place. Remember to post a schedule for children that includes pictures, and a separate schedule for adults. Everyone needs some time alone, so your space should say, "There are places where you can be by yourself when you want to." Provide areas where just one or two children can play. A cozy reading area or quiet computer area can provide some respite from the excitement of a preschool classroom. Children should know you can do many things on your own here. Design your space with independence in mind. Label cubbies and shelves. Make sure that materials are where children can reach them. Finally, every preschool space should say, "This is a safe place to explore and try out your ideas." Offer lots of opportunities for problem solving and experimentation throughout the day. Offer open-ended materials that let children be creative.
He's doing? What do you think he's going? Where do you think?
Provide extended time for play.
He's looking for his family?
Yeah, I found one. I found one.
Yeah. So I bet that like going like to see that classroom, it's inspiring teachers because it did it to me when I was
This is the
looking at the
quickest way to clear out
classroom.
stuck poop.
If you've never felt like a burden
And-
because you have frequent stomach issues,
All right. All right. So as we were going to that video and we're reflecting about our own classroom, I bet that you got the ideas that the person describing the spaces was saying, and you heard like a couple of times when he said your environment should say, and it's because the environment in a classroom, everything is saying something to children. And we gotta pay attention. And that's why I told you, think about your own classroom while you see this video, because probably now you get the idea of the messages you're saying through your classroom to your children. So you saw that he was talking about messages to support emotions. And that's when we can say through the arrangement that family is welcome, they're welcome here, they can do things with you, they can come in and share things with you. Ruth is going to be talking about simple things we can do when we let families come into the classroom. And when you said you can be like you have cozy areas. If you feel overwhelmed or you need a break, you can go to that corner and get like a little break. And that's how we are setting with the classroom messages that go to support our children's emotions. But you can support and send messages to tell them that the classroom, all the organization of the classroom, tell children that they can be productive. They can take the most of the time and interactions they have in the classroom. Everything is accessible, how he was saying. You can know where the paper is, where the pen is, and you don't have lids in the containers to be opening, and sometimes it's hard for children. So everything is wide open, and they can just go right there, take it, and use it. Like everything you do in the classroom, talking about arrangements, is going to increase children's exposure to learning opportunities. That's how we give through the classroom arrangements the message that this is like a productive space for you. And the last one, and it's the one that I want to like talk a little bit later about, is the message to support instruction. It's like how you can invite and provoke a child to go beyond the simple and basic things and make questions and provoke all that. So we can go ahead, Ruth, with the next slide, Gina, so Ruth can share about
All right.
the classroom environment.
So when we're evaluating the classroom environment, we do want to look at those learning centers because we know that those learning centers are going to provide unique learning opportunities for children. And I know sometimes as teachers, maybe when you're doing your gathering circle at the end of VPK, and you're asking those questions about, well, what did you do today? What did you learn today? And a lot of times that response is play, right? And then sometimes when parents ask children, what did you learn today? What did you do today? And they'll sometimes get that response for children, play, right? Well, in those learning centers, they do provide those unique learning opportunities. And I think as educators, it's important that we understand, what children are learning when they are playing in those classroom environments in the learning centers. And I think it's also equally important that we as educators help parents to understand the value of play and that children truly are learning when they're in those learning centers. So the question is, how do learning centers provide that unique learning opportunity to children? And what are children learning when they play? So we know that learning centers support children's development through hands-on play-based activities. We know that learning centers have a significant impact on children's learning and development, and that play is critical to the development of young children. So just to take a moment to talk a little bit about play so that maybe educators might want to share this information with parents. So when children are playing in these learning environments, in the learning centers, they're building their language skills because they're starting to communicate. They're using the new vocabulary that they have learned, and it applies in their playing. Children also apply what they've learned in their playing. So as an educator, you might be teaching a concept in small group, and then there's opportunities in these learning environments, in the learning centers, to go in and apply those concepts that they've learned to extend that learning. Also, when children are playing, they're learning deepens as they might be sorting materials, comparing, they might be brainstorming, analyzing a concept, all while they're playing in those classroom environments. And then lastly, as they are playing in those classroom environments, they're learning how to problem solve. So as problems come up in their play, they're able to brainstorm and come up with solutions to any conflicts that they might be involved in. But play doesn't only promote that cognitive development, it also promotes the social emotional development. So as children are playing in those classroom environments, they're learning to think on the spot. They're engaged in teamwork and cooperation. They're gaining confidence in their play. They're building relationships with their peers. And also, play helps to reduce the stress, right? And so it's helping them feel a part of the classroom. And it's just relaxing as they're playing with their different peers. So when we take a look at this slide and we look at the different learning centers that you may have in your classroom, you can actually see what it is children learn in each of those areas. So let's just take a few of these here and let's kind of look at the fine motor center. Okay. So in the fine motor center, let's see here, they're going to be learning fine motor skills, right? Strengthening their hand muscles through activities that they might be, beating. All right, looks like I got knocked off.
Fine, we
Can
can hear
you
you.
No, we're
You
still
can
here.
hear me? Can,
Mhm.
all right. For some reason, I am not seeing the video. But anyway, okay, there I am. I'm back. So there's hand-eye coordination. They're learning to concentrate on focus on a particular task. If they are in, let's say, the math center, right? They're learning to count. They're learning those numerate skills to count, to sort, to recognize different numbers. They may be working on puzzles or math games. They also learn to identify and create patterns right there in the math center. So if we even look at the block center, children, when they play in the block area or the block center, they're becoming aware, spatial awareness. So that means they're beginning to understand shapes of things, sizes of things, just spatial relation of things. They're learning to problem solve, figuring out how to build certain structures, how to make a structure stay up, how to build a foundation. What do I need to do to make this structure be taller or wider? And in the block center, they're also learning about the fine motor, as they're manipulating those small blocks and other building material. So they're learning a lot. Yes, they are playing, but they are learning. There's a lot of unique learning opportunities for children in the library center, for an example, this one down here, if a child is in that classroom environment, they're developing a love for reading and understanding stories. They are expanding on their vocabulary. They're maybe listening to audiobooks and reading stories. So there is a lot of unique learning opportunities that children learn in those classroom learning environments. And so this might be something that you share with your parents so that they truly understand that when they ask that question of their children, what did you learn today? That the children really have learned different concepts and different things in the classroom, and play is valuable, and that is truly how children learn, is through their play. So this may be something that you want to put up in your classroom, or it may be something that you want to share with your parents that's showing learning centers providing unique learning opportunities, and that children are just not playing. Children learn through play.
So it's
All
not
right.
bad at all that they
Pardon?
said, "Oh, we were playing today the whole day," because they're learning at the same time, right?
Absolutely. They're learning and they're playing and learning at the same time. And I do know that sometimes parents, they want to have something tangible. They want the child to have something tangible in their hand. They may want a worksheet. They want some production of something, but playing in classroom learning environments and learning centers, children are learning. And I'd like to just put a plug in there. We are doing a training at Early Learning Coalition. It's called It's Okay to Play in VPK. It's
Oh,
a
yeah.
two-part series. And so the first one starts on April 8th. That's a Tuesday at 6:30. We're going to be at Boynton Beach ELC. And then the second session is Tuesday, April 15th at 6:30. So if you'd like to take advantage of that training session, it's okay to play. We really cover a lot of the value of play in young children in learning centers. We really take a deeper dive, and I think you'll find it really interesting. I checked the registration today. We have 30 spots. 24 of those spots have already been filled, so we've got about 6 more spots to go. So please, if you get a moment, log in and register for It's Okay to Play coming up in April 8th, the first session. All right.
Great. So
Next
that's,
slide. Go ahead.
yeah. So that's very clear. And I would like to know, I was a VPK teacher a lot of years, like I don't know, more than 10 years probably. And I would like to know if we have VPK educators here connected with us today, and how you feel when parents come to you and say, oh, I wonder if my child is learning something because I asked him yesterday and he said, oh, I was just playing. And every day he's saying, I was just playing. And how we feel when they come, because they make it look like by playing they're not learning. Like everybody, like parents, most of the parents, not all of them, they will come with the idea that learning it's like attached to books, notebooks, and projects, and having a child from one activity to another one, and not like having free time to play and learn through those activities. So if you're an educator, I want to see something in the chat. I know it's time with probably some of you are having lunch, but just take the time to interact with us so we don't feel like we're alone here. Now, talking about how important are the centers in a VPK classroom, we're gonna be thinking about what is an invitation, because your centers, they invite your children. And we really need to understand that an invitation is the act of inviting or presenting a situation tempting. Like you're saying, hey, look, come here, you're going to have fun here. So look at the pictures that we're presenting now, and think about it. Think probably in your classroom, most of the children would like to go to which center? Share with me. So when you said, okay, in 5 minutes, we're going to be done and we're going to open centers and you can go to play. So you know that most of them, they would like to share time in some of the centers. So if you have those in mind, just write in the chat. Because I remember back in my time, they love to go to 2 of them, especially. All right, so that was housekeeping, and that was blocks. You see, I started to see Michelle is saying housekeeping, dramatic play, and blocks. Those are the most, right? So that's a reflection that we have to do now. You see, dramatic blocks, they love it. And if you see the pictures, ladies, it's very inviting. You see blocks, how it's like full with wooden stuff, different shapes, cars, people, even open-ended materials. One time we were in a summer and we were talking about taking shelter from hurricanes. And I was like, we have a lot of like small stuffed animals. And I was just trying my children, and I was like, okay, let's build a shelter for our stuffed animals. And that came out really nice. We were talking about physics. We were talking about how about we build this like that, we add these things and those. And that was really like an engaging and enrichment and in the classroom. So the invitation is that we gotta believe that everything in the classroom should be looking like an invitation. When we as teachers impose, like, okay, let's see, I have books here. And I come with to my children, I say, okay, this is the book we're gonna read today. instead of having options, which one do you want to see? You want to read this one or this one? So they're gonna feel, oh, she's inviting me to read and I would like to read this one. So the result will be engaging. I see some messages like in the chat. People is active there. Can you see, Ruth?
I do. In the chat, Adrian says, we send classwork home with the children. I show a daily schedule to the parents. We have open house. So I'm sure Adrian is responding to how we get children to understand the value of play. And then
Mhm.
Monica says, I had a parent ask me about why the child was saying they played with Play-Doh for 2 days, and I showed them the alphabet cards and the Play-Doh that he was learning how to make alphabets with the Play-Doh. So yes, Monica, they're playing with the Play-Doh, but at the same time, they are learning about the alphabets. Nicole says, at the end of each week, we send home a newsletter with what we will be talking about next week and what art and cooking activities and science experiments we will do with the children. Their work is displayed in the classroom as well and sent home each week. Absolutely great
Great.
examples of how we can share what
Mhm.
children are learning in the classroom. And
Yeah,
Cecilia says, playing with a purpose. Absolutely.
yeah.
Playing in those learning centers are playing with purpose. I'd like to interject here, Claudia. We were talking about, you asked the question about those centers that are most popular.
Mhm.
I'm wondering, what do you do as educators to get children to play in those less popular centers? How do you get them? How do you engage your children? Someone can unmute themselves or you can put it in the chat, but share with us, how do you get children to play in those less interesting for them, I guess you would say, classroom learning environments? What do you do?
Mhm.
How do you engage the students?
Yeah, and if we don't do it so far, it's time to be planning for that. Time to be thinking, what should I do in my next school year to make,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, a writing center be more popular than it was this year? And it has, I think it depends on children. And some years I have like our center was full of people without waiting line to use all materials. And when my reflection was like, oh, probably last year it was like that because I had a great easel, because I had like, these new materials that I don't have this year. So probably we can go and reflect in things that we can share. We can share in the chat and share as teachers, as directors, and how we can increase the interest in all classroom centers. Wow, look, people is blowing
Yeah.
there.
We have something in the chat. It says documentation boards. This is from Vina. She says
Mhm.
documentation board with pictures and quotes of what children
Great.
said in their own words. We display outside of the classroom. There you go, extending the classroom. Uh, Gwendolyn said, if you go into one of the least chosen centers and start working on an activity, they will come and join you. Great strategy. Let's see. I think this is from Curlin. She says, for example, they love Play-Doh. I put Play-Doh in the writing center. Great, great strategy.
Great.
Yes, Nicole said we bring those lessons to our line time to drag attention to them. For example, the children love practical life, but we see less of an interest in the language area. So we will bring a language lesson to our group time to show children how to properly use the lesson, and it attracts their attention. Great,
Great.
wonderful.
Oh, wow. Those are
Great
great
ideas.
ideas.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So talking about that, I don't know if you read it, but I see this message from Shameka. And I would like Gina, if you can change the slide, and we're gonna come with something that she's saying there. She said, add something new or invite them to play with me. So if you see, if you take a close look of these pictures, so you see that probably that first pictures where you see the child drawing himself had something new that probably is writing center, right? And usually we put there like pencils, envelopes, paper, of course, lined paper, but markers. But have you seen a mirror in a writing center? That's new. And it's just one thing, as Shomeka said, something new to invite. So now we're going to go beyond an invitation to provoke children. So a provocation, it's like when they feel that something stimulates their thinking, like I have to explore, really see this and take advantage of this. All right. So with small things that probably you already have in your classroom, can you see? You can even go to your purse and get the mirror. And you know how fun the magnifying one, the face, how it's gonna look there. That's gonna be so fun. So you're gonna tell the same thing. Can you draw yourself like a self-portrait? But look at yourself in the mirror and just use whatever you have there. So that's gonna be provoking the child to, okay, today I want to use this center because I have a mirror here and I'm looking at myself, right? Probably as Ruth is gonna tell us later, everything like mirrors in the bathroom are very high and they can like is not like used to see his face, but now he has the mirror right there. And look at the in housekeeping, how they just have like a line to just hang clothes to it's laundry day, right? So they always want to help around. So look, let's bring like real socks. Clean socks, please, not stinky socks. Real socks and clothes, baby clothes for the babies in the center. And just it's a cleaning day. Please just you take care of the dishes and you take care of the laundry and we're gonna hang everything here. It's just like a string, right? And it's something new that is gonna provoke. Now I wanna do it here because probably I don't get to do it at home, right? And look at this picture outside. They just get like a few utensils from the kitchen. Probably you can get some of them in your house with not like you're not using them, or you can ask your parents to bring things. It will be even cultural. And they just take that, and if this is going to be different, sometimes we're asking ourselves, what can I do outside that be aligned with the curriculum? Something like that. Something like that. And the last one, you will see a simple, what is the different element? You have those tile, like magnet tile over there. And the only difference is that you brought a flashlight into the room, and that is going to bring the everything, like thinking about how shadows appear, what makes the shadows appear, and it's going to be provoking a lot of discussion. So it's just matter of small things to provoke children. So I'm just going to leave you with Ruth and those thoughts so you can make your own arrangements for your classroom.
We also have a couple of things in the chat. Nicole says we also regularly change out lessons when we notice less of an interest in those learning centers. And Monica says we have bingo games with the alphabets, numbers, and shapes, and the children were not interested in playing the games, but when the treasure box is pulled out, they are ready to play. So yeah, all of those strategies, interest and provocation, when you have those classroom, when you're evaluating those classroom environments and bringing things of interest to them. So next slide. So in the process of us evaluating, educators evaluating the classroom environment, we want to look at our classroom from a child's perspective, because we know when an adult walks into a pre-K classroom, or you as an educator, you're going to see all of the wonderful things, right? That and opportunities that the children have for learning. So you're going to see, the reading area from across the room. You're going to see the big rug there that's maybe used for circle time. You're going to see the children's artwork displayed around the classroom. But when a child walks in the classroom, what does he or she see from her perspective? And depending on the way that the furniture is arranged, they might be seeing the backs of cubbies, they might be seeing the backs of high shelves, or a bunch of chairs or whatever. We're going to look at a quick video. It is entitled A Child's Perspective: Essentials for Classroom Design. It's by Dr. Sandra Duncan, and she's talking about when creating an inviting environment for children, educators need to look at it from a child's perspective. And when the children's view isn't blocked by bookshelves or cubbies, they can see all the activities, they can see all the opportunities for learning, and their viewpoint is expanded. So designing classroom from a child's perspective, it increases the student's focus and engagement. So let's take a look at the video.
Does a child view the classroom from the same perspective as an adult views the classroom? To answer that question, let's do a little experiment. So I'm using this viewfinder to see the view of the classroom from an adult's perspective, from an adult's height. You can see through this viewfinder that the adult can see up, over, and beyond, even to the furthest corner. A small child, however, has a totally different perspective. This is about the perspective that the child has. Notice the difference. The child can't really see up, over, and beyond as easily as the adult. So, make sure that when you're designing early childhood classrooms, that you design them from the end user's viewpoint. Remember, the end user's viewpoint is the child. The child is built low to the ground. So design your classrooms from the child's perspective.
All right, so the child's perspective is governed by their height. So get down to see exactly what it is that children are seeing from the child's perspective. Next slide. That one's yours, Claudia.
Yeah. So here we have how like labels are something that must be present in a classroom. Why? Because it's gonna facilitate everything in the classroom, but it's gonna let everyone know what are they gonna use. And as a VPK students, they see the word of everything. So in the class environment, this is something like it's universal. Like if you want to do everything accessible in a classroom, labeling, it's sometimes the schools take labeling as, okay, we are gonna get an accreditation. So in order to get it, we're gonna label all the classroom. But it's not just because an accreditation, it's because every classroom needs that. It's supporting children, and it's gonna help you with children's that after they play, because we're being talking a lot about playing, they know where things go, where things below. So they're gonna just put everything back. And as you can see, another reflection of this picture is like letting us know that quality and quantity of materials it give like a big message in a classroom, because if you just have one thing of something that everybody wants to use, that is going to promote not engagement in a positive way but in a negative way, because they're going to be fighting over that only thing they have. So I really want you to think about that and start making your wish list, dear teachers, just between us, wish list. And really would like to have this. But if you take a close look where one of the arrows are, like the shells we have there, if you include like nature in the classroom, you're gonna get a lot of free materials. And that is something nice that you can use. You can be rotating. We live in a coast, so probably we can get shells, we can get sand, we can get like things like that, pine cones, acorns. I haven't seen them, but we can get a lot of material, rocks, even to paint, like a lot of things that are for free, and you can just place it in a center. Okay, so I just wanted to mention that, so it could be helpful. Sometimes we think that we have to spend a lot of money to equip a center, but with a few things that you can just be intentional, it could be working very, very good.
Also, along those lines, Claudia, even from labeling items, materials on the shelf, it's
Mhm.
going to impact children's learning and development, because now we're talking about print awareness. We're
Yes.
talking about pre-reading skills,
Mhm.
vocabulary development, literacy skill, improving their organization skills,
Yes.
independence, responsibility, and confidence. Because look at me, I can clean up and I can put things back where they belong. So just by labeling the shelves, this is what children are learning from their classroom environment.
Yeah. And finally, with this picture, this is my question. Let's see if you guys are paying attention, even for Gina and for Ruth.
Okay.
So what do you see? This is a science center, all right? You see magnifiers, you see shells, you see magnets, you see all that, even a real plant, something that is provoking that usually we don't place in a science center. What do you see? I'm just gonna give you 3 seconds because it's right there on top.
Mm-hmm.
Something that is inviting to do
The clipboards.
the clipboards.
Boards,
I
right.
know Gina was talking
Mm-hmm.
for everyone.
Yep.
The clipboards, they love to
Yes.
take notes. So why not clipboards? And they see educators with, oh, my teacher is using one, checking things. Why not? I can do it
Mm-hmm.
with science stuff. All right, that's just, it was just me and
Yeah.
April. And
And I
April Fool's Day.
and I wondered, educators, if one of the things you could do when you go back to your class, if you just went to each learning center and say, what item can I put into this center? Just the one item to provoke children, the provocation, right? So in my you know, book area, I'm going to put this. In my science area, I'm going to put this one item. And if you did that for every learning environment in your center, what a difference that we could make and raise that level of interest for each of your learning centers. So great. So I think next we're going to do a poll. I think that's what's coming up next, Gina, is our poll. We have two questions, and we'll go through this really quickly. The first poll is, How do you typically introduce new learning centers to your students? And you'll see there's A through E through group demonstration, individual instruction, visual aid and posters, interactive activities, and others. And then the second question is, how often do you rotate the themes and the materials in your learning center? So if you'll take a moment, we'll give you, just about a minute to answer question 1 and question 2, and let's see what the data tells us. So after you select or write in, if there's a space for write in, you hit the submit button. No? Okay. You hit the submit button, and then we can see what the data is going to tell us.
Yeah, they just
Yeah.
choose and then submit the.
Yeah, the other didn't give me an option for a write-in,
They didn't?
like a
Okay.
survey. So, but if they do select
Mhm.
other and you want to discuss, we certainly can do that. That was my only option.
Absolutely. Thanks, Gina.
Mhm.
Yeah. Sometimes teachers complain because they said, oh, my children, they don't know how to play. Look at the mess, look at that. But probably we didn't take the time to tour the classroom and let them know what are the rules in each space and all that. And it's very helpful.
Still have people responding. We'll give it another
Wonderful.
30 seconds.
Yeah, we have 52 people connected.
I know,
That's
that's awesome.
Awesome.
Woohoo,
And,
ladies.
and great participation. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mm.
All right, Gina, we're about
Mhm.
ready?
I think so. We can end 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yay.
Okay.
Yay.
All right, look at that. So 77% of the people that are here, the educators, they typically introduce new learning centers through group demonstrations. Then we had 18% with interactive activities and 5% with visual aids and posters. So most people introduce new learning centers through group demonstrations, a large percentage there. And then our second question, how often do you rotate themes and materials uh, of the learning centers? 36, oh wow, we had a tie between weekly and monthly. Both were at about 36%. Way cool. That's pretty good. And then some, we had 9% do it bi-weekly, and then 18% every few months. So there's the data on evaluating the classroom environment, on what centers how you introduce it, and how often you change material. So let's move on because the next slide talks about our another way. I know when we're evaluating our classroom environment, we're looking at the furniture, we're looking at where, the cubbies and the shelves and everything are placed. But have you thought about the door of your classroom? What message is your classroom door saying to children? And as they walk up to the classroom, what message are you projecting to the children? Are you saying, welcome, come on in? So you can see there, look at the doors. Some of them welcoming doors, some of them are themed doors, some have pictures and names of the children. Let's look real closely because we just have just a few minutes. We got a quick video we want to look at. And this is Dr. Duncan again. She's talking about viewing classroom doors purpose and viewing from the door. What it does is it engages children. It eases their transition from the outside world to the classroom world. So let's see what Dr. Sandra Duncan has to say about classroom doors.
What do you think the purpose of a classroom door is? Many would say it's to come and go, for children just to come and go. Or others might say that it's to keep children in the classroom or out of the classroom, or perhaps it's to protect you from the weather elements. I say the purpose of a classroom door is much, much more. The purpose of the classroom door is to help children transition from their outside world to your inside world. Let's see what we mean about that. Let's take a look. One way to judge what a child's view is from the classroom door is to merely get in the middle of your door jamb and scooch down to the height of the child that you serve, just kind of like this. What do you see? Do you see things that would interest a child to come in and join you in your classroom? Do you see items of curiosity, items of excitement? What do you see? If you see custodial, if you see perhaps table legs or backs of cabinets or cubbies, that might be a sign for you to perhaps rearrange your classroom. Let's take a look. To improve children's view, add home-like elements, such as a couch or a cozy chair. You might also want to have a ritual before coming into the classroom, maybe some name stones that they find their name on a stone and put it in a basket, announcing that they are here. Try having a curiosity table right next to the door, next to the entry door. On that curiosity table, put items of interest that children might find exciting to come in and explore and look forward to. You might even want to try a box with a lid on it and put something really fun inside of that box. So children, when they come in, the first thing they do is they look inside that box and find out what you have put in that box, especially for them.
Okay. I hope, all right, I hope that you will see your door differently to your classroom from now on, that you will take time and be creative, and make that door say, "You are welcome here." We did have a slide here with discussion. We've got like 6 minutes. So really, really quick, I'm hoping that someone will either unmute themselves or put in the chat. We'll go to the second discussion question, and it is, Gina, one back. How do you assure that all children get an opportunity to play in the most popular learning centers in your classroom? We've talked about the most popular. We've talked about how we get you encourage kids to go in the less popular. But how do you make sure that every child gets a chance that wants to play in the most popular learning centers? I've seen it done different ways. I'm sure, Claudia, you have. But in the chat, can you tell us, how do you assure all children get an opportunity to play in the most popular learning centers? Or if you're feeling brave in these last 5 minutes of the webinar, can you unmute yourself so we can hear and share? What do you do to make sure everyone gets a chance?
Let's see. I like these webinars because we're giving ideas one to another, like everybody's getting the most.
So while everyone is thinking or putting something in the chat,
We
Nicole
just have
said,
one, and Fran says weekly rotating centers, center charts.
We can talk or just write.
go
You can
ahead,
talk.
Medina. Go ahead, Medina.
Oh,
Love to hear you.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's about it. That what is the biggest challenge you face with management learning centers?
Okay.
It means for this balancing time between centers. Time between centers, because sometimes the kids want to spend more time in the center, but it's time to to move to another things. That's it
So,
for me.
so what is it that you do, Medina? What strategies have you used to make sure everyone gets a chance to play in the popular centers if they want to move on? What do you do to make that
Is
happen?
okay. We're gonna have is I try to is get the more time, get more time, or rotate the kids. Okay, say okay, this time I gonna do in 2 times the centers. If you go in the morning to that centers, the next time in the afternoon you wanna move to another center. This way everybody
Okay,
have chance to rotate for the center.
I see. Okay. In the chat, Nicole says, we provide plenty of materials in those areas as well as give the children a chance to work together. If there is a large interest in the same lesson, we encourage children to ask how long the other needs uh, with that lesson, and we give them a timer for them to set, and they can either sit and watch the timer or they can carry the timer with them and play with a different lesson while they wait. Gwendolyn says we have 45 minutes for centers and we give 20-minute cycles in the more popular centers and then rotate. Adrian says a rotation chart, a timer. Dorian says we create a waiting list. Each student signs their name and waits for their turn. The teacher keeps track of the time by setting a timer. Great strategies, teachers. You may want to try one or two of those and see what works best for your classroom and your students. So, next slide, Lena. Thank you all, Gina. Thank you all for typing in the chat. Just want to say that as we come to the end of the year and summer is fastly approaching, it's going to be here before we know it. Just take a moment to evaluate your classroom spaces, your environment, and modify it to meet the needs of the children that are coming in. And I want to leave you with this quote. And then, Claudia, if you have anything you'd like to end us out with, Dr. Sandra Duncan says, we can design spaces that inspire learning. We can design spaces that preserve the magic and the wonder of childhood by creating places that allow children to simply be children. It's what children need, and it's certainly what they deserve. So think about how you might design your classroom with a child's perspective in mind. Evaluate some of the qualities of your classroom learning environment. Think about the value of learning environments and the impact that it has on children's learning and development.
Great, great, great. So I enjoyed it, this webinar. I can't wait for the next one. I certainly learned a lot of things that I'm gonna share around. And I wanna thank all of you because I know you're taking this time of your busy schedule to meet with us. Thank you all.
I just want to mention that our next topic for next month, for May, which will be our last one for this turn, it's going to be battling the summer slide, and a little bit of celebration for the school year will be a part of it all. And so we look forward to having you all there. And again, in Claudia's words, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule and being a part of this webinar today. I think we're right at 2 o'clock.
We
Yay.
are. Good job. And I will send out the recording and the slides from today. And I think we did have maybe a environmental self-evaluation form. I can resend that one out again as well, along with the reminder for our last May session for battling that summer slide. So thank you everybody for being here with us today. Thank you, Ruth and Claudia. Always a pleasure. And hopefully this will be helpful for you and your teams, and enjoy the rest of the week for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.